Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Flo Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
And we are two entertainment journos based in Sydney, Australia, who love to analyse and talk about all things reality, TV and pop culture.
Each week on Receipt Roundup, we bring you our take on what's trending.
This week on the show, who will win Big Brother, the return of Vanderpump Rules, a Kardashian sister turns nasty, and Meghan Markle brings the holiday sparkle.
So kicking off with the show, truly back from the dead, the return of Vanderpump Rules, season 12 with an entirely new cast. As we know, the original cast for more than a decade got the axe last season.
Yes.
This was for one reason, Scandival, the secret affair between Tom Sandoval and Rachel Leviss. And although it delivered these worldwide headlines, Bravo apparently didn't want the toxicity and ultimately decided they'd all just run out of steam.
Yeah, and I also think they had to get new people because most of the original cast no longer even work there.
Yeah.
And I actually never watched old Vanderpump Rules, and I always thought I was too far behind when Scandival broke to catch up.
Oh, it was so good. The last season, it was just pure chaos. I think it was a mistake to get rid of them because they're in their 30s and 40s now. For me, their problems just are getting more interesting. I mean, couldn't they have just transferred to Ariana and Katie's failing sandwich shop or something? I don't know.
They're in the valley.
Right. This new crew of 10 servers at Lisa Vanderpump's restaurant is so young. It feels like a huge emotional commitment to start following them. I was a bit underwhelmed.
I know. I just don't know if I have the bandwidth to invite 10 new people into my life.
For the next 10 years?
Yes.
Can't you squeeze them in?
I have to say it was nice to see Lisa Vanderpump again, cracking the whip at SUR with these lazy, aspiring reality stars. And everyone's employed there, they're trying to make it in show business. It's just like an audition that goes for an entire season.
For years.
Yes. But to me, I didn't think anyone really stood out. Everyone's messy in their 20s, or was that just me?
No, it wasn't just you. My care factor was on life support as well. Care factor 0. I can't relate to this age bracket, except if they're on Big Brother, then I'm suddenly hugely invested.
Exactly. It's like drama, drinking, dating anyone and everyone. That's when you need to get it all out of your system when you're young. But I do have a mystery. Who is this Paulo, the bartender? So the women are passionately fighting over him. He's 54 and he was last dating Natalie. And before that, another server, Demi. And why didn't he sign a release to be on the show? Isn't that part of the job?
Well, at least he's in our age bracket. Yeah. But why are they fighting over him? They blurred out his face, but I did a quick Google search and his pic came straight up. Natalie says he's a hot 54-year-old, but I wasn't exactly crying into my pillow over him.
Well, there's another mystery. So when I was watching the opening credits, I swear I thought I saw George Clooney in the cast photo, like photo bomb. And I Googled, and this other mystery man, his name is Guillermo Zapata, and he's one of the co-owners of SUR, along with his wife, Natalie, who we also saw in the first episode.
Yeah.
So we need that silver fox in the show, I say. And at first I thought maybe that's who this mysterious Paulo is, but I did find out that the real Paulo was in a terrible motorcycle accident a couple of months ago, and he's learning to walk again.
Oh, wow. I would think that his daddy storyline would be one of the highlights of the show. Is he never going to appear? How irritating. Also, I wonder if any of these women are still after him now that he's sick. Probably not.
Yeah, good point. So Big Brother's ending for 2025, and let's talk about the live stream issues. So I got sucked into watching the live stream because people on our So Many Receipts TikTok page were talking about it so much.
It's like that became the biggest element of the whole show.
Yes. Well, so I'm carrying my phone from room to room now. I couldn't stop watching all last weekend. And even though sometimes I was just watching the fish tank, and they also kept muting the sound out of the conversations. And I just think it was over censored. If someone is fighting for an hour, I want to see them fighting for an hour. Don't cut it out and go to the fish tank.
Or the dryer. I wonder if bits were muted because the things that they were saying didn't suit the producer's narrative.
Well, I think that they were cutting out things and muting things to avoid spoilers. Like this was when Abiola was gone and everyone was wondering what happened when who was evicted. And I think they're just trying to not spoil the other show.
Well, someone also said in our comments that they mute out the sound whenever someone is talking about their exes as well. So maybe for legal reasons, which I get. But surely not all of these mutes are to do with legal stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's it about? I think it was interesting to have the live stream, but the problem is, what did the producers choose out of it when editing the 1 hour show?
Yeah, well, we saw so many people in our comments saying they didn't show this other side of this person or that person, and you need to watch the live stream.
Yeah, so as we don't know at this point who is going to be at in the finale, I think we should take a wild guess and presume Colin and Coco will be in the final selection. The house knows that they're the two biggest threats, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So I,
they can
yeah,
sense the viewers are watching them.
yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, so assuming Colin and Coco will be there at the end and are the favorites, out of the two, who would you vote to win Big Brother?
So I'm going to go with Coco. She said a couple of things I disagree with, but
Okay.
overall, she is the standout. She's actually interesting to watch. She's fun, she's
Mm,
flirty, she's adorable, she's likable, and I actually do want to know more about her. She's 30 with 3 kids. What's that about? And she's a former surfing champ. I just want
yeah.
to know what is her deal?
She did have one of the funniest lines of the year. I'm nominating Ed because I'm sick of seeing his hairy bottom.
Fair enough.
Yes. However, I'm going Colin. I think he's
Oh,
a real character who added drama to the show. He was certainly more memorable than some others. I personally don't ever think that the winner of Big Brother should be someone who gets to the end just because they're a nice person or deserving for
yeah.
outside reasons. I feel you have to earn that place by creating memorable TV in some way. And I think he did that.
Yes, but I feel like Colin only got to know the housemates after Holly was voted out. Otherwise, the two of them just
Mm,
isolated somewhere. And I just find it painful to watch him when every other word he says is brev or bro.
yeah.
And
Okay.
if he hadn't hooked up with Holly, he wouldn't have been that interesting to watch. And I also think he would have been voted out earlier because he's actually pretty annoying.
See, I ended up changing my tune both about Holly and him as the time
Really?
went on. Yes, because in the early days, the edit showed the worst of Holly, and media were quick to paint her as the villain. And
Mm,
Colin was made out to be this poor specimen caught in her
yeah.
spider's web. But I actually came to like her more. I thought the age gap romance was also interesting. I guess I've just now got more perspective.
Yeah, I'm still not a Holly fan. She kept grabbing Mel's mic when she was evicted, and she was being interviewed, and she was like
Yeah.
just trying to take over, and it was just so cringy. And she just went on and on in her interviews.
I liked the exit interview. I thought she was quite articulate.
Yeah, I agree, but that's why I don't buy the, oh, I get my words wrong thing. She's very articulate, and I feel like she actually does know what she's doing.
Oh, okay, right. Well, a lot of viewers loved watching Holly on the live stream and enjoyed the conversations she had with Colin. I did like Coco at times as well.
Mm,
However, for me, it's Team Colin.
yep.
Also, I'm throwing some weight behind Connor if he's at the end because I think he had a lot of balls to go on TV with Tourette's.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, moving on to Southern Charm, it appears to be well and truly game on with the horny Charlestonians of Southern Charm.
Hmm.
So, it seems to be turning into Love Island, and Salley is giving these F-boys a run for their money. And after Madison's baby shower, Shep, Corey, and Salley headed over to Craig's house for the after party, which ended up being Salley and Craig in the hot tub until 4 a.m.
Yes.
So allegedly, nothing ended up happening because, according to Austin and Shep, Craig couldn't close the deal. But
Hmm.
Salley and Craig did exchange steamy text messages afterwards that they showed us on screen, saying that Salley should have stayed over.
And we also saw pregnant Madison being messy. She's hands down the best female cast member this season.
I freaking love Madison. And
Yes.
so she's not drinking, so she has nothing
Yes.
else to do but stir the pot in between trips to the bathroom to pee, which is quite funny. And she slyly tells Austin's girlfriend Audrey that Salley is after her man, and cracks were already appearing in their relationship because they're still long distance, and 2 years is kind of the point where you decide to keep going or whether this is a waste of time.
I feel so sorry for the women in Southern Charm who, in order to remain on the show, have to pretend that they're actually interested in the men in this show. I do not believe for a second that Salley or this new Charley girl is actually interested in Craig. And
Hmm.
now we have to suspend disbelief that Sally's also interested in Austin? Really?
She's
And
working for that paycheck.
and
Yeah.
yet her saying, would I hook up with Austin? Oh, the day after he and Audrey break up, let's go. Well, he's now broken up with Audrey outside
Hmm.
of the show. So did Sally hook up with him? Of course not. Of
Well,
course not.
well, Charley, this friend of Sally's, is a former beauty pageant contestant who's moved to Charleston. Poor Charley has only been in town for just a hot minute, and Shep's already in her DMs.
Yeah, well, that I do believe. Shep sliding into her DM. She
Yeah.
is freaking stunning.
Yeah, she is. And so Charley also knows Craig because he was a judge when she competed in the Miss South Carolina pageant. And we do see Salley flirting with both Craig and Austin,
Hmm.
but she cracks the shits when Craig and Charley start chatting and accuses her of breaking girl code. But I would say breaking girl code is when you're starting, say you start dating someone, as in Austin, the day after he's single again. Plus, there's still this beef with Craig and Sally's new BFF, Vanita, which she completely chooses to ignore.
Yep, no, not buying any of it.
Well,
But
Taylor
go
also,
ahead.
yeah, I know exactly. Well, Taylor also claimed this week that Sally had manipulated a doctor into cheating on his wife, and that Sally was fully dating someone the entire time that they were filming, while also trying to hook up with Craig and Austin.
Well, no surprise Sally denied all of that, but it's probably true about the boyfriend. This
Mhm.
show has become so staged. We've had
Yeah.
producers also wanting to get Molly together with this sleazy friend of Craig's. Is she now going to be lumped with this new Whitner guy who just appeared out of nowhere? And
Yeah.
last season, we were expected to believe that Vanita supposedly wanted to hook up with JT, even though he had a girlfriend for
Yeah.
most of the time. These are all beautiful, accomplished women. None of them actually want these party boys for
Hmm.
real. I feel they're just playing along with the camera. These storylines suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they should just make Molly fall madly in love with Rodrigo and then have a love triangle with him and his boyfriend. And Miss Pat should also declare some kind of secret crush on Shep.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mix it up a little bit.
I want to see that.
Yes. Well, this next segment is brought to you by Unexpected Guest Distillery and Bar. Situated in Merrickville, Sydney, this is a great little bar, and you can also experience their own range of award-winning gins or buy them online.
They also host really fun niche trivia nights, often about reality TV. We were actually there last week for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills trivia night, and seeing as we're super fans, we actually had some pretty high hopes, didn't we?
I don't even know what happened still,
No.
but eventually we came
Let's
almost
replay.
last. Well, it was just
Yeah.
the two of us at a table, to be
Mm.
fair, but I was actually surprised at how knowledgeable the other tables were. They were not messing around.
I know, but we just couldn't remember anything. Like we totally forgot that Lisa Vanderpump was in season
Yeah,
one and that Bose only took the ladies to St. Lucia just recently for a cast trip.
I know. Well,
Couldn't
if you're
remember.
exactly. If you're in the area, they do have a 2025 Wrapped trivia night on Thursday, December 11th at 7 p.m., which I'm sure will be really fun. So
Mm.
go to unexpectedguests.com.au for details.
Rose and Thorn time again. And I'm starting out with a thorn for Kourtney Kardashian for being the world's worst sister on the Kardashians. But before I get into that, in the latest episode, Kim underwent a brain scan. She actually has this long standing brain
Yes.
aneurysm. So, celebrity medic Dr. Daniel Amen tells Kim the front part of her brain is actually showing unusually low activity.
Yes. So, of course, when this news came out, it made headlines, and everyone went for the easy jokes about a Kardashian with a low brain
Yeah.
activity and Kim failing the bar exam, etc.
Yeah, but it's actually serious because the scan showed these holes, which are these
Yeah.
areas that aren't functioning as normal. He suggested the low activity is probably due to chronic stress. She does have a lot of stress in her life. And if the frontal lobe stays underactive, it could make stress management difficult. However, he also said her brain reacted zero to anxiety prompts, which also explains why she's so calm and seems to be able to just soldier on when everything goes wrong with Kanye.
Yeah, and so I've also had some health challenges where I had a virus that crossed the blood-brain barrier and damaged my nervous system.
Mm.
And I had an MRI that discovered one of my frontal lobes was functioning at 1%, and it was freaking terrifying. So I wanted to find out more since Kim has access to obviously the best medical healthcare in the world.
Mm.
And I have to say, this show is surprisingly growing on me.
Yeah, so you could relate to what she was going through with
Yeah.
this brain stuff.
I was fascinated. And the
Hmm.
test that she had was actually called Prenuvo. It's a trendy full body scan. A lot of celebrities have it. It's
Okay.
4,000 US dollars, but it can detect hundreds of conditions at the very, very earliest stages. And this
Right.
Dr. Amen, he is a psychiatrist and brain health expert, and he's written all of these New York Times bestsellers. And rumor has it, he and Kim are going to start a line of brain supplements and launch.
Oh,
So you have to admire the Kardashians. They can monetize anything.
even a even a brain condition.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Scott Disick's scan showed the front third of his brain is really sleepy, which didn't surprise
Shocker.
me at
Yes.
all. He operates like he's in slow motion, and this could lead to other problems with impulse control, which is what got him into so much trouble in
Mm,
the early days of this show. So I want to talk about what a biatch Courtney is.
yeah.
In the episode prior, Kim reveals to her investigators discovered someone extremely close to her had arranged a hit on her life.
So Kim says she was terrified, as you would be, and
Mm.
immediately changed cars, avoided certain locations, and increased her security. And apparently, this tip came from a person in prison.
Yeah, and when Kim is pouring her heart out about this, Courtney just says, have you ever eaten dates covered in butter and salt?
What?
So yummy. And then she explains to camera she has too much going on in her life to absorb other people's drama. What?
Uh,
Someone tells you that a person wants to kill them, and you talk about eating. Plus, every time Kim says she has a lot to do, Courtney just makes her feel worse by telling her she's ridiculous for being in law school and should be spending more time with her kids. She's so unempathetic and unsupportive. What a biatch.
well, she just comes off as super
She
judgmental and she's
is.
just kind of like over everything and just wants to be in her little love bubble. But I did actually like one of the scenes with Courtney in the latest episode. She has this get together with her mom friends about parenting, and Australia's own reclusive singer Sia just happens to show up and join them.
Yeah, I thought I recognized her. At first, I was thinking, why has she got an Australian friend there? Who's this Australian lady? She's
Yeah,
someone down the road, and it's like, oh,
I had to rewind it back. And
yeah.
so she told this really funny story that when she was at one of the Kardashians parties, she was introducing herself as Chloe's assistant, which is hilarious. And also we see Kim, Kylie, and Kendall getting ready for the Met Gala, which I really enjoyed.
So the theme for the Met Gala this year was super fine tailoring black style, which I'm sorry to say I did not like. The
Mm,
concept was so confusing. Many designers got it wrong. And even though the designer of Kendall's outfit got the theme right, it was so drab and boring.
mm.
It reminded me of a grey work suit from David Jones, but Kim looked amazing as usual.
Yeah, I really did like Kim's look, but I didn't like the enormous hat she had. It just reminded me of Melania Trump's giant hats that she wears all the
Oh,
time covering her face.
right.
So
Rose time for
it
you.
is rose time, so handing out yet another rose for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which somehow managed to turn a frosty inquisition about Meredith's plane meltdown into something fun and visually entertaining.
Mhm.
So Bronwyn held a Boston Spilling the Tea Party, which was supposed to be the celebration of her getting her American citizenship because she's Canadian, but she was born in Brazil. But it was really an excuse for the women just to be shady.
I never thought a Real Housewives show would double as a history lesson, but somehow I ended up learning more about the US forefathers than I wanted to.
It was very embarrassing how much history the ladies did not understand. But
Mm.
anyway, they made their own history by being the first franchise to distribute random drug tests.
Which did seem odd considering they were all dressed up as if they were part of Hamilton in these wigs and
Yes.
gowns from the 1700s.
Well, I do have to say I was a bit disappointed. Meredith didn't have a lab tech on site to instantly provide results. No one actually peed in a cup, but I did think this stunt was highly amusing. And there was also an intense scene between Whitney and her husband Justin. And I have to hand it to Whitney. She's not one of those housewives who pretends to have this perfect life. She puts it all out there.
Well, she's actually the only housewife who's had the balls to admit that her beauty, wild rose, failed,
Mm.
right? And that's big because, as we saw with Wendy Asefo, when the Happy Eddie business was failing, she allegedly just started defrauding to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, so well now there's a rift in Whitney's marriage because Justin advised her about the business and that's why it failed spectacularly.
Mm.
And now they've lost their life savings and she has a lot of resentment and rightly so because she said the business was everything to her, obviously besides her family. But
Hmm.
she was talking to big retailers like Sephora and Target about distribution, but Justin thought they should go down the multi-level marketing route. And I can tell you, just with that limited bit of information, that is an awful idea.
Yeah, anything MLM is supposed to be so dodgy. It just
Yeah.
sounds scary. But I don't know if it helps their marriage for her to blame him publicly on camera. He did look quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. But there was also a scene between Bronwyn and her mother, Muzzy, who are sending out gay pride flags together. Muzzy 2.0 is transforming into an actual human being. And she told Bronwyn she was proud of her and that she was doing a great job with everything. Is this my imagination, or is Muzzy actually becoming warm and fuzzy?
Little
It's
bit.
weird. Yeah. And I know you're going to mention Bronwyn's latest airport costume. She picked up Todd dressed as a sloth. And I actually don't think it was her best look.
You know what? I wasn't actually going to mention it because I've already mentioned it so many times. I barely have the strength to
Yeah.
bring it up again. But hello, this visual gag is wearing so thin. Todd didn't even kiss her hello, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Imagine if your partner met you at the airport wearing these things. You'd be taking your own Uber home. You'd be
Yeah.
walking 50 paces ahead of them. How embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't good.
Now, awarding a rose this week for Live Aid when rock and roll took on the world. We just saw part two of this four-part docu-series, which screens Sunday nights on Nine. You can watch it from the start on Nine now if you want as well. I'm absolutely loving this because it's about the pop culture event of the 1980s. The making of Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas? Live Aid's We Are the World, and the pop concert at Wembley in Philadelphia, watched by 2 billion people on July 13, 1985, including me. I watched
Yes.
it. I was a teen.
Yeah, of course, me too. And I can't believe it's been 40 years since Live Aid, if you want to feel old. And
Mm.
I'm actually surprised there hasn't been anything that's really rivaled it since then. And we just see how crazy and impossible this whole idea seemed, but how everything magically came together to make it happen.
Yeah, so if you're like us and you were a teen in the 80s, this takes you back to those neon days of all the
Mm,
biggest stars who took part. And for me, that was my personal favorites, Duran Duran,
yes.
Spandau Ballet, Bananarama, Wham. I loved hearing the anecdotes from recent interviews with Bob Geldof, Bono, and Phil Collins as well. They were
Yeah,
great.
it's really remarkable, and both the single and the Live Aid concert incredible. But looking back, I have to say the lyrics haven't aged well. They're a bit tone
Yes.
deaf, and I just wish they would have done more research before they wrote the song.
It was funny when some Ethiopian official was on saying, there's a line in the song, Do they know it's Christmas time at all? Yes, we do.
I know it's
We
a bit
know.
patronizing. Well, he said Ethiopia is actually one of the earliest civilizations to embrace Christianity. So, yes, of course they know it's Christmas. And that line, there won't be snow in Africa this Christmas time. Well, I don't think snow's common in Ethiopia.
No.
So, and then Bono's line, well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you. Hearing that now, it makes me wince.
I know that's so cringe. Plus when they sing that line, no rain or rivers flow, and he was also saying there's actually lots of rivers in Ethiopia.
Fact checking needed.
Yikes! They were all in their 20s when this happened. I also like how this series provides more context around the Ethiopian famine relief effort. Did the
Mm.
money actually reach these starving people? Well, sort of. It got a bit tied up in red tape, which was unfortunate because the intentions were just so heartfelt and pure,
Yeah, absolutely.
so
And
authentic.
yeah, it was really good to see Bob Geldof's thought process behind this amazing effort. And it's
Mm,
interesting to see how important Paula Yates was, his ex-wife. She was instrumental in pulling this whole thing off
that's
because
right.
she was hosting a pop music show called The Tube, and she knew all these artists and had relationships with them. So I have to say, as Australians, I feel like we have this certain perspective of Bob and Paula through the lens of her volatile relationship with
Mm.
Michael Hutchins. So it's actually nice to see them in their prime before everything kind of went downhill.
Yeah, because she's kind of been saddled with this legacy of the drugged out muse of Michael Hutchins who OD'd.
Yeah, and I have to say, one scene that really stayed with me was this man who carried his small child for 8 days
Mm.
just to try and get her some help. But then, he got there and a nun said, she's too far gone. There's nothing more we can do for this child, and just like left her to die. But she didn't. And her father, who appears in this recent interview, put his hand on her heart and he could feel it beating. And then they zoom out, and the grown daughter is sitting right next to him. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was very moving. She's now a 40-year-old woman. I did like the interesting backstories in this series. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
good watch.
Yes. So I'm ending with a thorn for With Love, Megan Holiday Celebration. This is the final installment of Netflix's $150 million deal with Megan. And I just wonder if they can get a refund.
Oh.
So I tried to have an open mind, I swear, again, but
Okay.
she's just too inauthentic. And she
Right.
talked about the importance of family and traditions throughout the whole thing. But she's the one that's cut off almost everyone from her own family, her father, sister, brother, plus the entire royal family.
Well, her dad Thomas is actually really ill at the moment, right?
Yes.
Like he's in intensive care, like the Philippines. He lives there, right? And
Yes.
is she sending him a homemade Christmas card?
Exactly. I don't think so.
A jar of like homemade cookies?
Or jam, some
No,
jam.
no.
So, we see Megan once again in her fake house with her fake barn workshop, and her beautiful beagle dog Guy is sleeping in a basket. And we talked about this last time. Guy died in January of this year. So this was filmed, a while ago.
Guy is gone, people.
Yes.
Yeah, they always have to pretend it's Christmas for these things. It
Yes. And
wasn't
so,
even done in this year, that
well,
whole special.
oh, you probably not. Yeah, probably
No,
not.
the
And
dog's alive.
And she's also getting slammed for her wardrobe, which cost $120,000, and her jewelry, which clocks in at $460,000. So I actually get the clothes. She's a rich lady who lives in a $20 million mansion in Montecito. It's all quiet luxury. That's how they roll.
But why are the clothes so blah? They
Yeah.
just, to me, they just look like ordinary mix and match neutrals that you get from Witchery. So 120K
Well, the
for that
whole
for a
point,
wardrobe?
well, the point of quiet luxury, it's very understated. They don't wear gaudy colors and prints.
Mm.
And so the jewelry, I don't understand the jewelry. She cooks with all of this jewelry when you're actually getting your hands dirty. She's mixing that puppy chow with the peanut butter and the chocolate and mixing things together in a bowl. And it's just disgusting.
Mm.
And apparently, I'm not the only one who has an issue with her unhygienic food prep, because last week she posted about her Thanksgiving turkey, and she was touching the raw turkey with all of her ring stacks. And there was a very quick backlash with people calling her Salmonella Sussex.
Salmonella Sussex. I do love that. And like all the previous seasons, Prince Harry does get wheeled out in the very last 5 minutes, as
Yes.
usual. Honestly, if he appeared more in the show, I think the ratings would be so much higher. He would not have to do much.
Yeah, exactly. So
Sprinkle some flowers. That's all he has to do.
yeah, so apparently he's just casually hanging around the fake house, and he pops in when he smells gumbo, and he tells Megan that her gumbo is almost as good as her mother's, but not quite. So I am sure that he paid for that comment later.
She got a
And
commission. Yeah.
yeah, and the show's been described as insipid, and I actually think that word sums it up. It is just really shallow and bland.
I actually enjoyed it.
Stop it.
I love watching Christmas cooking programs and crafts. It suited my holiday vibe.
Uh,
However, I was very stunned.
yeah.
Meghan Markle shocked me in this With Love Meghan holiday celebration program. She says Americans don't do Christmas crackers at Christmas time. What?
Yeah, true.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. And then she tells this guest star, this restaurant guy, Will Guidera, that they're going to be making their own Christmas crackers. But she says they're not the kind of crackers you eat.
Yeah.
They're the other crackers. And he says, "Oh, is this a big thing in the UK?" And she says, "Yes." I had no idea Christmas crackers aren't a thing in the US. They're such a
Mm.
fun tradition here in Australia. I always assumed they were just everywhere. So you can't buy them readily in the States?
No, we don't have them at all. I didn't know they existed
Wow.
until I moved to Australia. And I just went through this last Christmas with my American niece who was living in Australia. I said, "Can you please pick up some Christmas crackers while you're out shopping?" And she FaceTimed me from the
Hmm.
edible cracker aisle at Woolies.
Actually, I then saw on a Reddit thread that some people in the US said they only heard about them from the Harry Potter movies and they thought it was maybe a made-up Harry Potter thing.
No. Look, I do think they're really fun, but this will shock you. We actually ended up making our own crackers, even though I am not a crafty person at all.
Oh, you see, so you are more like Megan than you think.
I must be. Well, like, I just hate how the crackers you get for Christmas, they have these garbage presents inside, like nail clippers and keychains and puzzles and stuff no one actually wants. And when you're
Mhm.
clearing the table, you just throw it away. And I
Right.
just find it so wasteful. So, like Megan suggests, you can put really fun things inside. So I made them, and I put mini bottles of Bombay Gin Sapphire Gin, $20 gift cards for Sephora and Dimmix, and Lanolips lip balm, no dad jokes, and they had the crowns. They were a huge hit.
Oh, the bad dad jokes are one of the highlights. So I looked it up. Crackers were invented in the UK in the 1800s. They used to be filled with sweets, and they were supposed to replicate the crackling sound of a log fire. So that's why they're called crackers.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
they're filled with novelty items. So as we're coming up to Christmas, I thought we should demonstrate to those unfamiliar these crackers. We're not side by side, so we have to do our own. Do you have yours there? I've got mine here. You have to hold down this tape thing inside. Otherwise, it doesn't make the noise. I mean, this is so weird. It's like I'm describing what a shoe is. This is so familiar to me. These ones are cheap from Kmart. So let's pull them apart.
Ooh,
Did
that's a
yours,
big pop.
did yours pop? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Very big
Okay.
pop.
So we're going to get it out. So you get a paper hat. And this is my novelty item. I got a cardboard ruler, a mini ruler.
I didn't
And
want a novelty item.
did you? Where's the joke? Okay, so so this is the joke or the saying. Uh what gi who gives sharks presents at Christmas?
Who?
Santa Jaws.
Okay, that's kind of fun.
Oh, what's yours?
It says, "What do you get hanging from Father Christmas's roof?
What?
Tired arms."
What? Tired
I know.
arms.
Yeah,
Oh, because you're hanging. Okay, all right. So you get a paper hat, a joke, and a little toy or
I
thing.
didn't get a toy.
You didn't get a toy? And
No.
then you actually have to sit through the rest of the Christmas lunch wearing these hats
Yes.
on your head, these flimsy paper hats. Anyway,
Yes.
that is a Christmas cracker.
So I actually think there's a huge business opportunity for making decent Christmas
Oh,
crackers.
yes.
There's a gap in the market.
Okay. Oh, no, don't even think about it, please. We're not going into Christmas crackers. Maybe we can brand them though. Oh, okay, maybe it's not so
Housewives
bad.
Christmas
Yeah,
crackers.
yeah,
We'll make it nice like Dorinda.
yeah. Anyway, that is it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
Join us next week for So Many Receipts.